Good evening and welcome. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. On Reality Check tonight, we go beyond the headlines and the shocking pictures of the JNU fee hike protest to sift the facts from the hype. As the debate intensifies over whether these protests are justified or not, we take a hard look at the numbers. What has prompted the JNU hostel fee hike, which will make it the costliest central university? Post that hike, in fact, JNU's fees will be an average 70% more than most other centrally funded universities. Is there more than just economics of fee rationalization at stake? Why is the JNU administration adamantly refusing to speak to students? They have, in fact, also declined to participate in this show tonight. Why were students thrashed when they exercised their democratic right to protest? And does the police have basis for the FIRs it has filed today against students for rioting and damage to public property? My colleague Sukirti Dwivedi has a special report.
Students and teachers of JNU coming together to protest against the blows inflicted upon students who marched against the hike in hostel fee. While the Delhi police denies there was a lathi charge, facts suggest otherwise. Many students suffered injuries, including 23-year-old Shashi Bhushan Pandey, a visually impaired student from Gorakhpur who is studying for an MA in history. He was admitted to the AIMS Trauma Center with injuries on his chest. For Shashi, who is the sole earner in his family since his father passed away, the hike in hostel fees is a disaster.
वहाँ से लोग मेरे को ह्यूमन चेन बना के लेके निकल रहे थे और उन्होंने पुलिस वालों को बोला कि ये स्टूडेंट ब्लाइंड है, इसको मत मारना है, इसको नहीं मारिए, हम लोग जा रहे हैं। ब्लाइंड हूँ मैं, मुझे क्यों मार रहे हो? तो कह रहा है कि तू ब्लाइंड है तो तू आया क्यों था प्रोटेस्ट में?
But where does JNU stand when it comes to hostel expenses of other central universities? The fee hike, set to come into effect from next year, will double the total annual fee for all hostel expenses, including accommodation and food, from the current 27,600 rupees annually up to 55,000 rupees annually. With this, JNU is set to become the most expensive central university. Here's a look at how other central universities compare against JNU's increased fee. JNU to have an annual fee of 55,000 to 61,000 rupees. Delhi University has an annual fee of 40 to 55,000 rupees on an average. Jamia Millia University an annual fee of 35,000 rupees. Vishwa Bharati University has an annual fee of 21 to 30,000 rupees. Allahabad University has 28,500 rupees. BHU's annual fee are 27,000 rupees. Aligarh Muslim University 14,400. Hyderabad University rupees 14,000 per year. JNU teachers, who have also extended their support to the students, highlight why subsidized education is so important.
Subsidized education should be the state's responsibility. State should protect subsidized education and try and help students coming from small towns and cities.
Tomorrow, the JNU Students' Union is set to meet the high-powered committee that has been formed by the HRD Ministry to look into the issue. The Students' Union has said that it wants the HRD Ministry to order a rollback of the fee hike immediately, and they want the VC to initiate a dialogue with the students. In New Delhi, with camera person Nazim Siddiqui, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
Well, let's take this right across to our panelists tonight. Joining us, Oishi Ghosh, the president of the JNU Students' Union, Professor Atul Sood, economist and ex-president of the JNU Teachers Association, is with us. As I pointed out earlier, no one from the current JNU administration was willing to participate on this show tonight. Dinesh Singh, former Vice-Chancellor of Delhi University, joining us, as is Dr. Geeta Bhatt, academician and political analyst. Oishi Ghosh, let me put this to you first. Why this fee hike? Have you been given any kind of understanding of why this was necessitated, what necessitated this? And is this question about how it is now making JNU the costliest central university one that you are raising?
So we generally have an inter-hall administration meeting where generally the decisions for hostel fees are taken. But the thing is, this time the inter-hall administration meeting happened on the 28th of October, where students' union were not called, and abruptly a decision was taken that the fees will be hiked, which led to the protest because the students were saying continuously the student community was not taken on board while taking a decision of such a fee hike, and students were not on board of such a fee hike, and the administration, on behalf of the administration, there has been no clear evidences why there has been such a fee hike suddenly coming up in the mid of the semester, suddenly talking about doubling of this fee hike from 27,000 if you see now crossing 50,000 and making JNU one of the most costliest central university post the fee hikes.
Professor Sood, you've been part of the JNU Teachers Association.
Right.
You were, I believe, part of the protests that the teachers held in support of the students.
Right.
Why, in your opinion, do they have a point in these protests?
Thank you for asking the most appropriate question of why the fee hike has been done and why it has been done now. The answer to the question is that the fee hike has been done to hide the acts of omission and commission by this regime, by the Vice Chancellor and his administration. Why I say so? Because the fee hike has been brought at a time when there has been no resource cut by the government. So the fee hike has been come at a time when the Vice Chancellor has misutilized and misappropriated the resources of the university. He has increased the expenditure on security by 2.5 times. He has increased the expenditure on entrance exam 3 times. And in both these instances, the number of security guards and the quality of the entrance exam has been compromised. His appointments are under question. The Delhi High Court has given stay on various matters where that Vice Chancellor has been held responsible or his decisions have been questioned. So he's basically hiding behind this fee hike by office poor governance and the acceptance of this misgovernance.
So are you saying then that there has been financial mismanagement by this administration, by the Vice Chancellor?
Yes, the change of priorities. The change of priorities of public expenditure without consulting or doing the due process as laid down in the statutory bodies. In fact, the Vice Chancellor is now at the verge of compromising the parliamentary act under which the JNU was formed. JNU was formed to meet the needs of the students from deprived backgrounds, from marginalized backgrounds, from students coming from nooks and corners of this country. And he is changing the basic character of the university, and rather than that coming under scrutiny, he has created this issue such that the JNU students, the JNU teachers and the nation at large gets confused in terms of what are the key issues. So I think it's a very fundamental question that you have to ask today, and I think it should be debated in greater detail of what he has done over the last 4 years.
Okay, fair enough, but
presumably want to make a last
that
point.
is another debate in itself, but let's restrict ourselves to the fee hike.
No, but the government of India has accepted the fact that this Vice Chancellor does not know how to run the university. The 3-member committee has been formed to advise the Vice Chancellor on resolving the issues and the impasse that the JNU is facing today. So why has he failed? Because he does not follow the statutory provisions. And I think that is fundamental to the fee hike. Of course, the second...
And having said that, Oishi Ghosh, you've been part of meetings with the high-powered committee. Has the JNU administration been part of those meetings?
Till date, what we have got information from the Joint Secretary, Higher Education, Department of Higher Education, they have said that the Registrar and the Vice Chancellor both have denied to be the part of the commission. So we can totally understand what is going on. If you see, lakhs of rupees in the university are being spent on fancy lights, on security thing, exactly as Professor Sood said, and 80% fund cut in our library. We need to question that where is the fund going? There are statues been built within the university, but there is no fund for fellowships. Students are being denied fellowship for months. Where is the funds going?
Okay, you make a fair point there, and I want to take all of this across to Geeta Bhatt, once again stressing that, perhaps this is not going to be as exhaustive a debate as we would like, because the JNU administration is not part of this show and has refused to be. But Geeta Bhatt, these are very serious allegations being made, not just by students, but by members of the faculty, former presidents of the Teachers Association, alleging mismanagement by the present administration, financial mismanagement, and saying that when there has been no resource cut by the government, why has there been this sudden need for a fee hike which will now make JNU the costliest centrally funded university? What is your analysis of this?
Well, Ankita, you see, if there is, first of all, for any central university or any state-funded university, one of the most basic points is that if there is any kind of a financial irregularity as it is being accused by the other panelists who are present here, I am not privy to any such information. You see, every university has to go, and go ahead and have, and CAG audit. So whenever there is a CAG audit, as it also happened in Delhi University also some time back, any kind of a misappropriation of funds, if it is there, it is going to come into black and white. So not to worry about that. If they think that it has happened, then it will definitely come into, and they can go and ask for a CAG audit. They can go ahead and do with that. But however, the moot point over here is that when the students in any university, they have a full right to go ahead, and they have a full right to go ahead and do activism, and even if they don't feel that something is right, they can go ahead and protest. But when specifically to this whole agitation which has been done ostensibly because of fee hike, when this fee hike notice for the suggestions by anyone from the university community was put forth on the website and a feedback was asked on 8th of October, then the last date was also extended, which is all there on the website. It is not something, anyone can see it. Why is it that no one went ahead and gave their feedback? It is only once, it was brought into the manual.
You clearly have a counterpoint to that. You're saying
which has been shown by the students.
And I can show the proof
here. Woman Dean
right
was
here.
held hostage for 36
This is
hours.
here lies
For
being
36
Okay,
hours,
let's
a
go read an
woman
and
Dean
you'll
was
get a
held
chance to.
hostage,
Okay.
and her clothes were teared off. The way she was harassed. Is this how the students,
Okay.
they are going
Let's
to
let
present themselves? That too from a university like JNU, which is known for its academics.
Okay, so I
Why
believe
is it
Professor
that the
Sudha, a counter to that.
academic
Go ahead.
part
My co-panelist has established my point that this whole thing about putting on the website is nowhere in the JNU statutes. The JNU ordinances lay a provision that is a consultative process, faculty committee, the board of studies, the academic council, the executive council. There is no provision in the ordinances as per the government that you put it on the website for consultation. He doesn't call the duly elected representatives who are, it is laid down in the statutory norms that they should be consulted. So this is exactly my point, that he is running the university without following the institutional framework. Now, having not followed the institutional framework, this ruckus has been, he's imposed this sort of impasse on JNU so that the real issues are sidelined. And this is a fundamental issue.
All right, let's go beyond this for the moment and bring in Professor Dinesh Singh also. Geeta Bhatt, I will come back to you. Dinesh Singh, when you were Vice Chancellor at Delhi University, presumably there were fee hikes as well. Did it ever become such a flashpoint between students and the administration? And would you believe that the students have a point when they say, why this need for such a big hike right now? And this is a hike that actually sort of curtails future education, higher education for many students, because it will also sort of impact the diversity of the JNU campus in terms of the students it's always had.
Well, Ankita, so let me explain. Yes, there were marginal fee hikes during my time. And those fee hikes were taken through a process where we consulted, and eventually it had to be taken to the Executive Council and debated. And there were teacher representatives over there too. But those hikes did not affect anyone adversely. That's the first thing. The other thing that I would like to suggest is that sometimes we seem to work in a space that has very little data. No one should be denied education simply because the person cannot afford it. But in this entire, episode, I find that I have not come across any hard data on what is the number of students who cannot pay any kind of fees or a little bit or what more. Any decision must take all these factors into account.
I think it's very important to actually get into that hard data. Yes.
We have the data.
Yes, I believe, yes, Professor Sudha, this is something that we've been looking at also. The fact, if you go by family incomes of students, almost over 40% of students actually have a family income of less than 1.4 lakhs annually.
Yes, exactly. So you already have the data. That's one. The second is that JNU has a system, had a system of deprivation points, so as to bring students from the, so that it was a pluralistic university represented by students coming from every corner corner of the country, coming from all different social backgrounds and from rural and urban areas both. Now, those deprivation points were changed in a manner such that there is a 20% fall in students who come from districts which we call districts under quartile 1 and quartile 2. These are districts which represent the remote areas of India where the students do not, and I agree with Professor Dinesh Singh when he says that no one should be denied. So this has already been denied, because if I give you the percentage, you will be surprised by the numbers, that between 2014-15 to 2016-17, roughly in MPhil PhD program, we had 40 to 45% students coming from such backgrounds in the rural areas, and it has fallen to 28%. Overall, students coming from this background in MPhil PhD program, 26% to 10%. So, as Professor Singh is saying,
if we're talking about, well, this is presumably before the fee hike.
Let me complete. So, having reduced the access to education by such significant numbers, now you have a double whammy, such that even now you have the...
Why would you say that happened in the past, between 2014
because
and 17?
he is changing the basic character of the university without going through the due process. The framework of deprivation points was thrown away in order to bring students from other backgrounds and from richer backgrounds, not from marginalized sections. That's exactly my point that I've been making in the beginning.
Right.
That the basic character of the university, as laid down in the Act of the Parliament, is being altered, and a national, the country needs to know that how the basic character of the university is being compromised. And unless this comes under public scrutiny, and I'm grateful that you're bringing it under national debate on your television, that this should be debated fundamentally, and the fee increase, and I want to bring the...
So you're saying the fee increase is in fact just a part of what appears to be a larger exercise?
Because this is an example I would be giving, because when I came for my master's program in 2016, women used to get a deprivation point of 7 points. But when exactly in 2018 I came for my MPhil PhD course, I was denied that deprivation point, because this Vice Chancellor in 2017 brought in the UGC Gazette and told that no deprivation points will be given to women anymore. So how do you expect that women from marginalized section, from the most rural background, will be coming up to a central university like JNU? JNU as an university was built for the sections of the students who were not able to reach out to central university, were not able to get. I will be the first member in my family to get a PhD, and nobody in my family has ever got a higher degree. So today, if this fee hike happens, women like me will never even dream to come up like an university, even to have a research degree in central universities like JNU.
Geeta, but these are very hard-hitting points that are being made at this point by both Oishi Ghosh and Professor Sood. If you want to respond to some of that, because this really then talks about a larger process of changing the very character of a university.
Did you address that to me, Ankita?
Professor Singh, that was to Geeta Bhatt, but I will put that same question to you. But Geeta, go ahead.
Sure.
You see, I hope you'll give me some time to speak. I want to make 2-3 very quick points. First point is that no university administration can make any kind of changes without going through the due process of taking it to its academic council and executive council. Even in University of Delhi, when FIUP, a very controversial program which was brought, that was when it was brought, then also in spite of a lot of protest, it was passed through AC and EC at that time, and Professor Dinesh Singh is sitting here, he knows very well about it. Similarly, I am very sure if any kind of irregularity would have existed, I am sure that there are very able leaders, student leaders, and very able leaders within the teaching community who would have taken this right onto the streets. However,
which presumably is exactly what they have done and been thrashed for it.
That is that when you are talking about, please give me an intervention. I want to speak. AC meetings where JNU TI is not called, AC meetings where JNU SU is not called. Are these ways the meetings are running from the last 3-4 years, where JNU Students Union are being not called? And when we moved to the Delhi High Court, the Delhi High Court gave an order to the administration saying you have to call.
Presumably this is
no, this is complete lie.
Representative
claiming that it is the
complete lies
very
being told.
Has not followed the Lindo Commission guidelines, and the
Lindo Committee recommendation doesn't talk about
heard right now.
Only
None of you can be heard right now.
recommendation doesn't talk about notification of JNU Students Union. Neither does the JNU Constitution talks about that the administration has to notify.
Okay, let Professor Sood come in.
It is not only just this that.
Yes.
It is also the internal complaint committee of JNU that, you know, till 2017 they have been defined that we will not follow the Vishakha guidelines, which is a Supreme Court guideline.
But that's another matter entirely, and please don't sort of shift the
We were talking about the due process. We were talking about the due process and the meetings which happen in the JNU as in Central University where the teachers are not being heard. In the last meeting, in the last Executive Council meeting, which was a recent meeting, let me take an example because Professor Sood is sitting here. Executive Council meeting where none of the teachers' representatives were called. They were inside the meeting and the meeting happened 20 kilometers
What is
away.
happening in an ad hoc way without a larger consultation process?
Can I just put out some facts for your consideration? Number one, that the point about Lindo and the SU, whom do we believe, Government of India or the Vice Chancellor? The three-member committee has invited officially the student union based on the announcement of the election commission of the university. That means the Government of India recognizes the student union, but the Vice Chancellor...
Dr. Bhatt, please let him speak.
The Government of India recognizes the student union, but the Vice Chancellor does not. The Vice Chancellor tried to throw out the elected representative of the Executive Council from the Executive Council of the University. The Honorable Delhi High Court gave us a stay so that they can attend the meeting. Every decision that is being talked about in the co-panelists that should be contested is in line. The matters are standing in the Delhi High Court and they are still under the consideration of the court. So basic decisions which have altered the character of the university are all strongly contested, and on all major matters the Honorable High Court has been kind to give us stay. So you can clearly see that we are contesting it as per the due institutional process, and in fact it's the administration which refuses to follow the due administration process. The second point I want to make is that what you had raised in the beginning, what is the internal rationale being given for this fee hike? And if you look at the rationale that is being given for fee hike, actually there is no solid rationale. It's basically saying the fee was not increased, the students get scholarship. Let me give you two very important facts since you talk about facts. Students of JNU who get fellowships from the Government of India, UGC, CSIR and others, get an HRA allowance. That HRA allowance adds up to roughly, on the back of the envelope calculations, 22 crores per annum.
Right.
If a mess worker is given 20,000 rupees per month, which is not given, and 18 hostels, a rough calculation is that it will cost us 17 to 18 crores. So in fact, it is the fellowship students who are already providing more than the resources.
Okay, fair enough.
No, second point, the provisions of the fellowship says that these resources can only be charged from the students if the facilities provided are commensurate. Please look at the Government of India's orders.
Okay.
These are substandard facilities. The students are giving this money to the university, and now the issue is being raised that the fellowship is being given to students, so why they should not be charged? The students are already paying the money to the university. So you can look at it that the facts don't add up.
You say the facts don't add up. As Dinesh Singh, as someone who's also sort of been part of a university administration, what is your take on all of this? And I'm going to give you the last words on this show tonight, because you say that certainly no one should be deprived of the right to education. But where in all this do you believe that this has become vastly politicized, as some would have us believe?
Well, okay, so whether it's politicized or not, it's certainly become an issue. It's a societal issue now. And there are some aspects of this which I believe we should think about in the larger context for the longer run.
Right.
What I have in mind is, universities need to do 2 or 3 things hand in hand. I am not commenting on what is going on at this point in time. However, universities need to build a safety fund, a safety net. All universities across the world have a large safety net so that they can take care of students who are unable to fend for themselves.
Right.
And in spite of severe restrictions at the University of Delhi, we did manage to create a safety net. I must also confess, this does not mean that we could address the needs of every student, but we took extra care to try and address the needs of as many as we could, because we had a large safety fund which was not dependent on government resources.
Right. But
The
would you
moot
say that
point
has
then
been,
is how do
pardon
you
me, Professor
generate
Singh, but
resources?
very quickly, would you say that has been addressed by the concession that the JNU administration is making over here, Professor Sood, about the...
I mean, no, it is to BPL students.
Yes.
In fact, BPL numbers, in the government of India no longer uses it. The JNU administration has no basis to know how many BPL students are
Right.
there. That the annual income of a BPL student is 27,000, BPL family is 27,000 rupees. And if you look at the fees is more than the BPL income of a
Right.
BPL family.
Right.
And the JNU administration has no data. Please ask the administration to tell us. In fact, our rough guess is that there will be hardly any BPL
Well, we
student.
certainly hope the next time we talk about this, the JNU administration will also be part of that discussion, because that will make things a whole lot clearer. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on this discussion tonight. Remember, taxpayers with JNU was among the top trends on Twitter today, with people saying, I'm a taxpayer, I want my tax money to be spent more on universities and research, not on statues or foreign junkets or advertisements. Aren't public universities then places where students from all economic and socio-economic backgrounds should have access to education? We leave you with that thought. We'll keep talking about this. And, well, we'll leave it at that. It's been a heated discussion, but thanks for watching.